Letting your dog walk off-leash can be a fun experience for both of you as long as your dog is trained well enough to follow the rules. Here to talk about off-leash etiquette is Elena Miller, owner of Dogs Unleashed Canine Training. Elena, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So first of all, let's talk about the difference between a well-behaved dog and a well-trained dog. Because there are a lot of people out there with well-behaved dogs who think that it's okay to let their dogs off-leash.
Yes. So a well-behaved dog is a dog, happy-go-lucky, listens most of the time, but doesn't listen all the time. A well-trained dog will listen no matter what, in heavy distraction, no matter what the distraction. So a lot of people, I think every dog needs training.
Right.
Whether it's just basic obedience, but a well-behaved dog, most people won't get training because they're like, oh, well, they listen most of the time.
Right.
Kind of thing
like
that.
They're friendly.
Yeah.
They know how to sit, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily enough to then let them off-leash on a hiking trail.
Absolutely.
So what commands would you say your dog needs to have down before you let them off-leash?
Recall is probably the number one. Just getting the dog to come no matter what the distraction. And that's for safety purposes as well. Obviously when you're out and you see other people or other dogs, you want to recall them, especially if you don't know the other dog. You don't know if they have any diseases or if they're friendly or not. A lot of people say, oh, my dog's friendly, but not every dog is going to get along, just like not every human's going to get along.
Right.
And also obviously for wildlife, especially if you're on trails, hiking trails, there's bears, there's deer, there's squirrels, obviously. So just safety, that's the main reason.
So can you show us, maybe demonstrate heel or recall, just to give us an idea? And this is Blue, again, he is our star child here. He's had a little practice.
Yep, absolutely. And let me start with this too, is all off-leash obedience starts on leash first.
Okay.
So if you can't get the dog to do it on leash, you're not going to get it to do it off leash.
Okay.
So you want to master that, and as soon as you start master that, you can continue and move on.
Okay.
So heel. No, heel. There you go. So this is just a heel command. The dog just needs to stay by your side.
He is
whether
right
you
there.
Turn, wherever you turn.
That is so cool.
Good boy. Oh, that's a good boy.
And he just sits down automatically.
Yep, automatically sits. That's part of the command. It comes with an automatic sit, and all of the commands have an automatic stay. So he needs to stay in this position until I either release him or give him another command.
Okay. So you want to do a little recall here?
Yep. Come. Yes. Good boy.
He makes it look easy.
Good boy. Break. And break is his release word. So this is another thing. Come. Good boy.
Good job, Blue.
There
you go.
Takes him a little second. This is a new, in that case, we did it with, he wasn't in a command. So before he was in a command, so he was already focused. But before, after that, that's when he was sniffing around. And that's when the real test comes, when they're distracted. Right. To test the recall.
What sort of things do we need to keep in mind when it comes to walking off leash as far as like etiquette goes? Because you can't just, even if your dog is trained, there are certain things you need to do when you see other people, when you see other animals.
Absolutely. Well, number one, I always tell my clients to bring a leash. That's one, because you never know when you're going to need a leash. And number two is every time I see a person or another dog, whether they have a dog or not, I always have the dogs either come and heel next to me if I'm continuing walking or come and sit by me.
Okay.
The reason for that is just if I was a stranger, I wouldn't want a dog running up to me that I didn't know.
Right. And there are people without dogs out on these hiking trails who maybe don't even like dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure they don't want a dog running over. And even if the dog just sniffs them, still, if I don't know them, I'm going to be like,
Right. So if you've been practicing with your dog, they're getting pretty good, how do you know when they're good enough to let them off leash in an environment like that?
Like I said, you can start on leash and you can do long line work. So just 15, 30 feet, they have plenty of long line leashes.
Okay.
So that you can
And that's not a
practice with
retractable leash?
No.
Okay.
No. I try to stay away from retractable leashes. Actually in a recall situation, you could use one.
Okay.
but I like just long lines. Practicing, you can initially start with recall with low distraction, low to no distraction, and then you slowly introduce distraction. So whether that's another dog or a toy or something like that, and then just slowly introduce them. So you can start in your backyard with low or no distractions, move to the park, and this is all on leash.
Okay.
And then once the dog is reliable with that, you can
trust to take him off. All right, well, Blue's got it down pat, so you're doing an awesome job. Elena Miller, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
If you'd like to get in touch with Elena of Dogs Unleashed Canine Training, feel free to visit her website, her Facebook page, or just give her a call.